All right, good bounce back day here, and Oracle numbers look good enough to maybe get a breakout in that stock tomorrow to an all-time high. That would be huge. Combined with a nice rally in Palantir too, finally recognized for its dominance, entering the S&P 500 soon. Stock red light still though there, given we're downtrending off the highs. Of course, the argument is we could be uptrending off the lows from the year-long chart. That's where it's kind of stuck in the middle, 5,500 for the S&P. Looks interesting, as KG was pointing out to us, give or take a little bit around there. The question this week is, do we bounce? Of course, but also thinking about the stock market's relationship to big tech, because it's important to keep in mind last week really was about big tech failing and NVIDIA breaking down. The lights I'm happy with. Crypto still in the downtrend. Bitcoin bouncing today, but that chart was already on the low end of the range. We'll look at that in a sec. Dollar yellow, I think, holding up pretty well. Bonds generally catching bids. Again, they tried to fade bonds this morning, kind of like they tried to fade them on Friday, but buyers came back. The dollar, though, it did reverse after getting hit in the past week, and the dollar has actually been hanging in there, maybe even putting in a little bit of a higher low. First, though, stocks. NVIDIA versus S&P. Important to realize that NVIDIA is much closer to its recent lows than S&P's. Weakness in tech has been the main story. The economic stuff is not great either, but that's more debatable. What has been clear is that the AI trade's been deflating. So NVIDIA really needs to hang out above $100, like desperately, at the bare minimum. S&Ps have a good bit of breathing room still, and that's where there is an argument that we could be in sort of a neutral spot. Now, looking at dollar and bonds, that to me is a little interesting, given this week's highlight is inflation on Wednesday. Not really sure how to read it, though. I'm going to be honest. Because think about it in this sense. CPI first started hitting really light in mid-July. That was the first number we got that was like, wow, inflation's coming down here. And that was the high for the NASDAQ. So it's not really obvious that if inflation comes in light this week, it's going to be some great panacea to the stock market. After all, we topped with a light inflation print in July for the NASDAQ. Also, as yields have been going down, and generally as the dollar's been going down, of course, stocks haven't really liked that. So do you want yields to go down on Wednesday? It's hard to really picture, based on the way things have been trading together, how it's going to create a big bounce and risk on. That's where I think it basically skews a little bit more towards tech. If Oracle can continue the strength from tonight, that kind of reinvigorates the tech trade. I think that's probably going to be more important. Also because we are right at one-year lows for the dollar, and it's showing chop there. And even though yields have cut below it, I was kind of surprised last week at how slow the bond rally was. I know it feels like bonds are rallying a ton, and they are, but I feel like there's an argument that they could be rallying even more. So maybe you get a little pushback on those at one-year lows. If the yield continues downward, though, and we keep pushing the odds of 50 basis points back towards a coin flip, I don't think stocks are going to like that. Lastly, the coins. Really nice move in Bitcoin today, but it didn't really have an option. This is at the very low of the channel. This is like the easiest chart to ever draw. So you should expect some kind of bounce here, you would think. Otherwise, it's like disastrous if it rolls over. So I think Oracle numbers are right. Already a good start with the tech stuff holding in. Apple turning positive today. The idea that we kind of already know inflation's path. It shouldn't be too volatile of an event for bonds. Seems like we're setting the stage for a little bit of a bounce back here. Whether it lasts or not, we will find out. Have a great night.